Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of my Dungeon Boss PvP series. Today we are going to be taking a look at a hopper build and see what it takes to build a nice defensive hopper. So when we're doing PvP, there's basically two core builds as far as hopper goes. There is a hardcore, super powerful attack hopper, which a lot of people will use for PvP defense as a lead-off attacker. It catches people off guard and kills a lot of people. The build that I use is actually a super defensive hopper used for PvP attacks. Now, the reason that I go with a super defensive hopper for PvP attacks is because I want her to survive as long as possible, because as long as she's alive, she's going to be stomping corpse and preventing resurrection. That being said, I really only use hopper against Leo and Emily teams. I don't really have a need to use her elsewhere, even though she is super tough and can survive quite a bit. So I'm going to run through a quick replay here because it was a pretty epic replay. That's the only reason I decided to do this video, is because I was doing this raid and it didn't go as planned, but then Hopper pulls through and does some miraculous things. And basically what I want you to do is I want you to get on board with a defensive hopper and not a offensive hopper, because honestly, when someone's using hopper on PvP defense, I'm not usually afraid of those teams too much. I feel like my defensive hopper stacks up a little bit better than offensive hoppers, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. So if you happen to be 3Bing, I want to commend you, because it was a very fun raid to do. It certainly was, and I didn't expect to win, but you can see from the trophies here that I actually did win. So keep in mind, my hopper is defensive, and I'll get into her stats and stuff later, but she's basically the only one that did anything on this entire team here. So knowing that you can take out pretty much everything with her, that's something. There is a little bit misleading. Obviously, I didn't kill Koros with her, but you can see a Shadow Blade is there as well. So let's actually do the replay. What ultimately turned this raid into basically a circus show was the typical Kira doing crit while he's diseased. That can't be patched soon enough, and it's actually currently it's the #1 source of all of my raids right now that I lose, is when Kira is doing an extra crit after killing Cobalt. And it cost me my longest streak. I actually finally got to the 50 win streak to get the Merciless titles, so I started getting a little bit laissez-faire with my raids, but I lost at about 53 or 54 because of a stupid Kira crit on disease, and that actually is what turned this one down, because Shade, when he survives, he's pretty much untouchable, but kills Cobalt and then crits on Shade and kills him, which is complete BS in my opinion. Fortunately though, I get my attacks in here, and the fact that Koros took the damage he did told me that he's pure glass cannon. And then at least Shadow Blade finishes him off. With Koros out of the picture, I felt like I had a chance at this one, but ultimately it comes down to what Kira's going to do, because Kira's the main threat here. Fortunately, we get a nice little dodge there. So Hopper can handle a good attack from Kira. He did quite a bit of damage even with his disease, which bothers me, but this team was actually built pretty well too. So I mean, it was a 25,000 team or so. It was pretty impressive. But in most cases, a full life Emily and a full life Kira should be pretty much lights out. I did get some good dodges from Shadow Blade, but he's still dead. So it's 2-on-1 here, and even this, Emily cleanses Kira. You'd think at this point it is totally over, and I thought that too. But like I said, Hopper she's amazing. So as long as you do her skills properly, and we'll wait a minute or so until we get to the next phase here. But you have to be a little bit mindful of how you use her skills, especially when you're dealing with a damage reduction Emily, because she doesn't take a lot of damage, and you'll see that in a little bit as well. Had it not been for the wounding on Kira and probably the disease, he probably would have wiped me. But Hoppah gets her evasion going, and then boom. You don't get a lot of life back. 2,000, not much, but enough to stay alive here. So now when it's one-on-one, I felt like this was going to be a win for me. But look at that. It only did 90 damage. But the cool thing about Hoppah is that mark that she puts on it, which adds bite damage, really makes things much more interesting, even against damage reduction Emily's. She cures herself, which I expected. But Hoppah has a little energy regeneration proc. She gains energy back. So she gets her skills up pretty quickly, actually. So there's the eat and run again. And then she's now wounded. And then here's going to be the just a taste. Now she's marked again. And notice she's full health pretty much, and I am not. But the eat and run with that mark on it. Then she comes back up again. A little bit of a life regeneration, but look at that, only 147 hit points because she's got such high defenses. We do the just for taste yet again, marks her. She almost kills me, but now we get the eat and run, and it's just about curtains for Emily. And Hoppah for the win. So that, my dear viewers, is why you want a defensive Hoppah. Even though she doesn't do a lot of damage, when it comes down to it and her back's up against the wall, you can count on her to survive. I find her almost invaluable, especially in situations like this. I know that if I get down to just Hoppah versus just Emily, it's almost always a win for me, because even with Emily healing, the Hoppah's just too strong defensively that she can't do enough damage. I've never seen a attack-based Emily because they're always damage reduction, so there's just no way that she's going to be able to hold out. So hopefully that gets you on board with the defensive Hoppah. Now let's take a look to see exactly how powerful mine is. I was originally going to do a video on the runes that I crafted for her, but I got a new phone, new device basically, and I don't like how the recording works on it, and ultimately the video quality did not turn out. So I have them. I might still post them. I have to find a way to get those loaded onto my computer better so they're not all glitched out and horrible. Let's take a look though. But she is built pretty tough. The only reason I poured some real serious runes on her, because I did use her defensively on PvP defense. But ultimately that team kept getting beat, and I think when you use Hoppah on PvP defense, you almost have to use a lead-off Hoppah and just do all-out attack, which all of my best attack runes are put on other people, so that's not it wasn't really an option for me without really shuffling some runes around. So just without looking at them, you can see that I got a couple of 3 heroics, 2 legendary. I did craft some of these, and I do have the video footage for it. Like I said, I'll try and post that, but we'll see. So the first one that I have here is Superior Tactics rune. So it's got crit chance, skill, and attack. The tactics rune, the whole reason I picked this one was to give just a little bit of extra attack boost. So she's not 100% total defense. I like the normal stats on this rune in addition to getting the 4th stat, and it just so happened that I got a plus 10% damage reduction. For the second purple, it is a Bulwark, which you can never go wrong with a Bulwark. It's not legendary, but defense, health is a great Bulwark rune, so definitely a good one. The water rune is straight up planning rune, so damage reduction, 9.5%, plus defense, plus health, plus 8% damage reduction. Pretty serious rune there. Now on to what the weakest rune is, only 3 stars in heroics, but also still good damage reduction. It's got the double damage reduction stat plus the 5% reduction in PvP. Ultimately, if I can find a superior one, I'll probably put that out here. I haven't looked at this champion rune. It's health, defense, but no 4th stat, so I haven't really committed much more to her. She survives just fine by herself. So the last one, the nature rune, is we'll see once it glitches out here. Superior Aegis rune, a bunch of damage reduction. So 9.4%, 4.8%, and a bunch of extra health. And then plant damage, which is negligible. So if that would have been a better 4th stat, this would have been a rune for the Aegis probably. And maybe getting that 5th star. So overall her stats, attack is 2,000, which is actually pretty decent. Still better than someone like Samurai Takume. Reasonable defense, reasonable crit, pretty low health, but I got that damage reduction of 34%. Keep in mind that in addition to that, there is another 10, probably about 20% in PvP damage reduction. So probably over 50% in total damage reduction for PvP, which is pretty impressive for her. It helps her survive shots from Kira or Black Diamond and such like that. So that is the defensive Hopper. The only thing I really have left to gain is to throw a 6-star on her, but until the combat revamp is finalized, I don't feel like that's necessary at this point. I'd probably be better off just getting a couple of those runes replaced with some legendaries. But like I said, hopefully you get on board with the defensive Hopper. I think you'll find her to be very resilient. And when you're coming up against those Emily teams and you need somebody to be in it for the long haul, Hopper's a good choice. Even with defensive base, she does pretty good attack. I mean, she still is able to kill other people with her eat and run attack, which is that double attack with the wounding. You can't put a price on that wounding because that wounding prevents healing and it deals damage. So I mean, it's a great skill. So anyways, that is it for this video. Hopefully you know, like I said, you give this one a shot. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, we will see you again next time. Thanks. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting my channel. If you like this video, please show your continued support by hitting that like button, and be sure to check out both my YouTube channels for new content all the time. And always remember, peace is a lie, there's only passion. We'll see you next time.